Hello, I'm Kimi Avery, Relationship Navigation Specialist, and I am here with a dear friend and colleague of mine, Dr. Michelle Peticolas, who is a release and thrive expert. And she is an amazing woman. We've partnered for many years, and I just want to tell you a little bit about her. She is committed to helping her clients get over any fears they have and over any losses and any grief that they are experiencing so that they are thriving. And she specifically works with women who in the corporate world who want to do better, but for some reason they're holding themselves back. And of course she works with lots of people, men and women, but her main focus happens to be the corporate world and women who want to thrive. And I'd like to introduce you to her. So Michelle, thank you for being here. And I'd love to just share about you. Tell me about yourself and how you ended up becoming a grief and loss specialist.
Hi, Kimi. Thank you so much for inviting me on your platform. I empower women leaders and change makers to overcome their fears and limiting beliefs so that they can step fully into their power, make a difference in the world, and live and die without regret.
Oh, so important, right?
Yes,
Live
it
and die
is.
without regret. How many people die with regret? It doesn't have to
Many
be that
people. It's
way.
the number one regret of the dying is not living a life true to yourself.
Mm.
So I'm there for people, for women in particular, who really want to make a difference in the world, but are being held back by some pattern, parental pattern, or emotional wound that is keeping them small.
Mm. And that happens a lot, right? Where women are shouldering these burdens or have taken in the pain or the words for some reason. They believe them, their inner being believe them, or maybe not their inner being, but their
Their
human
bodies
self
and their
believed
brains.
it, right?
Their bodies and their brains, because when we're small, when we're young, we're like sponges, and we take in everything that our parents either model for us or actually give to us through their interaction. And
Mm.
if there's trauma or there's neglect or there's abuse or there's absenteeism, it leaves a mark on you. And if you don't work on that, those patterns and those beliefs, they are so powerful. They really get injected into the cells in your body. And if you don't work on it, it will keep on showing up and it will hold you back from stepping fully into your personal mission, what you're here for, what you're here to do.
Well, and it's interesting. I want to sort of highlight something that you just said. Work on it. It's not just working on it, talking about it over and over and over and over again. It's like addressing it and freeing it, releasing it
That's correct.
so that you can move forward. It's some people think of therapy or think of coaching and they go, oh, I don't want to look at that because
Right.
man, it's just too dark. It's too upsetting. I'm embarrassed or ashamed of it. But the truth is you can release it. You can release it and be free and your inner brilliance will shine. And how do you do that with people?
I work with them on the physical or body level, psychosomatic level, and on the mental level. I work on those two areas and simultaneously get them to reconnect to their higher self, their spirit, to their connection to divine, whatever you want to call it. And so by working on the body, which I'm telling you, we inhabit these bodies and they're very powerful. And they have a whole arsenal of chemistry to throw at us when they feel unsafe or they feel unhappy. And we need not to deny or pretend that that isn't powerful. It is totally powerful. And you can change your response to that. And as you step into your power, you actually changes a circuitry in your body.
Well, and so one of the there are two things that are coming to mind. Number one, Candace Pert, who was a cell biologist who is amazing, she discovered the chemical receptors on the cell walls. And she said that if you just work with the body and don't work with the brain, you're going to still think the same thoughts and have the same trauma. If you just work with the brain and don't work with the body, the same problem.
The same problem. Yes, exactly. And both the body and the brain are kind of in cahoots with each other together. And if you don't work on both of them, one of them is always going to be jumping in and pulling everything back. Not to mention that, on a physiological level, we like to feel comfortable. We like to feel safe. Yet to step into our true purpose, our true power, you have to be willing to allow yourself to be a little bit uncomfortable, to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also said, just step out of your comfort zone, but how do you do that? You have to change the wiring.
Yes.
And if you're in fear and stress, one of my favorite quotes is a guy named Dr. Don Colbert. He says, chronic stress sears the body the way acid sears metal.
Wow.
And it's like what you do in your work is you address what's going on biochemically. You do it through talk therapy and coaching and helping people to recognize a pattern and move forward. But it's really about clearing up those patterns that are holding you back, because when you're stressed, you can't function. You cannot be your optimal self.
But here's the thing. You can't stop a pattern. You need to replace it.
Right.
You have to do something different, and you have to do it over and over and over again until it becomes programmed into your circuitry. And for that, you need help. You need support. It's really easy to miss or not notice the things that you're doing that are actually holding you back.
Well, and it's so interesting. That's why great athletes have coaches.
That's right.
Certain patterns are played over and over and over in our society and in our families. And if you want to break out of old patterns, you need a coach to help you do that. Somebody who can see what's going on and help you to change those patterns, to guide you in a direction to be your optimal self. And that's what you do with people. And that's one of the reasons I admire your work so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's all about providing people with the tools and the awareness that will enable them to make the changes in their lives that they need to in order to fulfill their purpose.
Yeah. And really, what are we put on the planet for is to have a purpose. And your purpose is that small voice inside of you that says, do this, even if it seems crazy. You're right.
Yes.
Do this, do this. I was talking to a client and she wants to help end violence in Chicago. She's like, I don't know where that comes from. I'm a doctor and I've seen all these horrible disasters of gang violence.
Injuries, wounds,
all that stuff.
Death.
And she's like, who am I to do that? And I'm like, the divine would not have put that desire inside of you unless it was your calling. Absolutely. Unless it was your mission and your vision that was inspired by the divine. And that's where you help people get to, is to be able to thrive. So will you tell me a success story, one of your clients that you're really proud of who broke through?
Well, I have so many. It's like, okay, who am I going to talk about? So I have this one client who came to me and her husband left her and she was devastated. She felt like it was all her fault. She felt inadequate. She said, oh my gosh, this is the third marriage that I've lost, or maybe it's the second marriage. And the first step I had was to change her story. Yeah. And to have compassion for herself so that she could give herself space to heal.
Oh, so powerful. Yes.
I had another woman who came to me and she had been grieving the loss of her husband for 30 years. Actively grieving him. like whenever she saw her son, she would burst into tears. And she'd gone to therapists and psychologists and doctors, and with no success. And we worked for 3 months, and she has totally stepped back into her life. She no longer cries around her son. She's
Wow.
engaged in photography and plant landscaping, and she is really stepping into her power. She's really having
Mm.
a much more happy and enjoyable life.
But what's amazing about the two examples you just gave is that if you don't know what you don't know. And that's where somebody like you comes in, where you know that you've seen people get through these challenges, you've seen them get to the other side and thrive. And so you are like the beacon of light that they get to follow into the transformation. It's
Yes.
really
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if any of our listeners would love to hear, if you would love to hear from Michelle, or you'd love to connect with Michelle, all the links are going to be in here, but you can go to, what's the website?
The website is www.meetwithdrmichelle.com.
That's
Dr.
so
Michelle.
great.
No period in there, just drmichelle.com.
Perfect. And so they can go there, they can schedule a time with you to just talk about what's going on and see how you can support them and give them some guidance. And I just love what you do. And I'm so proud and so excited to be on this journey with you, Michelle. So thank
Thank
you for
you.
being in
That
my life.
I share the same with you. I definitely really appreciate our connection. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, bless you, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Great.